For any kind of antenatal treatment, the benefits of therapy have to clearly outweigh the risks of therapy. Remember, whenever we are trying to treat a child who is not yet born, there are risks to the child as well as the mother herself. So we restrict the treatment to only those cases where the treatment is going to actually benefit the child. For example, in children who have a unilateral hydronephrosis, there is no role for antenatal therapy because one kidney is enough for normal kidney function. For children having both-sided hydronephrosis and falling renal function, as is evidenced by decreasing glycer, those are the only cases probably where antenatal treatment may be recommended.
After 32 weeks, if the Liker decreases, early delivery is advised. Relevant steroid therapy is started to mature the lungs. After delivery, your pediatric urologist will take care of your baby. Immediate care involves neonatal ICU admission, monitoring the urine output, and urgent tests which involve ultrasound and an MCU. For most cases, you can go ahead with normal delivery as advised by your gynecologist.
With regards to hydronephrosis, there is no indication of doing a cesarean section just because the child has hydronephrosis. For a child with unilateral hydronephrosis, there is no need to rush into an ultrasound immediately after the baby is born. For the first few days of life, baby may not be taking enough amount of liquid feed, which will decrease the urine output and the kidney swelling may look less than normal. The normal feeding resumes by around 7 to 10 days of life. That's why we advise an ultrasound for unilateral hydronephrosis after 7 to 10 days of life.
In a male child with bilateral hydronephrosis, we are worried about posterior urethral valve. In these cases, we will admit the patient in the neonatal ICU immediately after birth, monitor their urine output, do an urgent ultrasound, followed by an emergency MCU.
For a child with unilateral hydronephrosis, the first postnatal ultrasound is usually advised around 7 to 10 days of life, and depending on the severity, the next ultrasound is typically done between 6 to 8 weeks, and the further ultrasounds are done depending upon how is the severity and how is the hydronephrosis progressing. In some of these children, we may require a renal scan, which again depends upon the primary diagnosis and the severity of hydronephrosis.
In severe or worsening hydronephrosis, as mentioned, the diuretic renal scan is required and is generally done at 6 to 12 weeks of age. This diuretic renal scan is not done prior to 6 weeks because the kidneys are immature. However, there are certain conditions where your doctor may get this scan early, which is bilateral hydronephrosis or a severe hydronephrosis which requires an earlier surgery.
For a children who have a variable hydronephrosis or a hydroureteronephrosis of unilateral or bilateral types, there may be a chance of a vesico-ureteric reflux. Now, in these children, there is no need to rush into an emergency MCU as soon as the child is born until unless there is posterior urethral valve suspected. If the suspicion is around VUR, then it's better to wait till 3 to 4 months of age before we do the MCU.
In children with ureterocele, it is better to get an ultrasound at 7 to 10 days of life and decide further plan based on the ultrasound.
Though antenatal hydronephrosis is very common, but not all of these children require surgery. We typically do follow-up ultrasounds after birth and maybe renal scans. If the diagnosis is pelvic-ureteric junction obstruction, hydronephrosis is worsening and the kidney function is falling, then these are the indications for doing an early surgery, sometimes as early as 2 to 3 months of age. But in all the other cases, typically we wait, we do follow-up ultrasounds and renal scan, sometimes as long as 4 to 5 years of age, and only some of these children may eventually require surgery.
In children with vesico-ureteric reflux, generally surgery is not required because there is resolution in 80 to 90% of the cases. Even if there is residual reflux with no infections, we do not recommend surgery. Only in cases where there is culture positive UTI, in spite of preventive antibiotics, surgery will be required.
For children with posterior urethral valve, surgery is always needed and most often in the newborn age itself or as soon as the diagnosis is made. Fortunately, with the availability of small neonatal pediatric cystoscopes, we can do these surgeries comfortably and with good results in children as young as 1.5 kg of weight in the preterm neonatal age group.
In children with ureterocele or megaureter, surgery is not always required. However, if there is worsening kidney function, severe hydronephrosis or symptoms in the child, then surgery is recommended.
For children with severe pelvic-ureteric junction obstruction and falling renal function, a surgery called pyeloplasty may be required. For the last 15 years, we have been doing exclusive laparoscopic pyeloplasties in all the children above 3 to 4 months of age. The results of laparoscopic surgery for PUJ obstruction are as good as open surgeries.
The benefits of laparoscopic pyeloplasty over open pyeloplasty are that they have lesser pain, shorter duration of hospital stay, quite early recovery, and lesser scar on the tummy. So why should we do an open surgery when laparoscopic surgery is possible?
A diagnosis of antenatal hypernephrosis is not the end of the road, as most of these children will go on to live normal lives. In fact, 70 to 80% of these children may not even require surgery after they are born.
However, the children in which we worry are cases with posteurethral valve, bilateral vesiculoureteric reflux with dysplastic kidneys, and bilateral severe pelviureteric junction obstruction. But these form only a small percentage, which is less than 5% of all the cases of hydronephrosis.